guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Becky with the good hair, and if you're new here, be sure to subscribe and also click the bell because you do want to be notified when I drop new videos. So today I wanted to talk about a viral video that's going around the internet, and I originally saw it on Twitter, and it's of a cop going to McDonald's and going through the drive-thru and then having a meltdown. And why is she having a meltdown? We're gonna find out. So what she ends up having a meltdown about is pretty insane, and her entire video comes off as quite tone deaf. But I wanted to read the tweet that I believe is the original, where someone was tweeting on this cop's behalf, and I don't know where the cop originally posted her video. I'm unsure about that, but I wanted to read the tweet that someone posted and then included the cop's video. This person was tweeting in favor of this cop and was commending this cop and feeling so bad for this cop. So I'll read you the tweet. So the person who wrote the tweet said, Stacey, who has been a cop for 15 years, went to McDonald's. She paid for it in advance, and this is how she gets treated for being a cop. Sad face, angry face. Come on, America, we are better than this. Let's get into the video and see what this cop is having a meltdown about.
Decided to come to the McDonald's at Love's on the Ford Avenue exit, and I waited in line to get my food. I had already done my mobile order so that, you know, people don't pay for my stuff because I just always like to pay for it myself.
Okay, first of all, I love how she thinks she's hot. And she's like, everybody wants to pay for my food for me, but I ordered ahead of time so that no one would pay for me because I like paying for my food myself, even though everybody wants to pay for my food. I'm sure everybody is tripping over themselves trying to pay for your food for you, Stacey. I hear about it sometimes where businesses will let cops eat for free, or people will pay for cops' food and coffee and stuff like that. And I don't think that people should be doing that just because a person's a cop, because in my opinion, I don't believe in putting cops on a pedestal and giving them a big head and a big ego. I don't really think that that's a good idea because obviously we see what's happened over the course of history. Cops have been treated as if they're above the law, and they think that they're above the law. And it's been proven that even in our justice system, they are above the law. So I don't think that you should be putting them on a pedestal. They're just people. They're just cops. Why are we putting them on a pedestal like that? I don't think that that's a good idea because I don't think that they should be given a big head and given a big ego. They get enough of that already. Our entire culture worships cops. So when they're out and about, just treat them like normal people, in my opinion. I'm sure when Stacey is out and about, she gets people who want to buy her coffee and want to buy her food and stuff. But I don't imagine that everybody's tripping over themselves and clamoring to pay for her food for her. I don't think that that's happening on a daily basis everywhere she goes. I think she's got a little bit of a big head, and she's like, oh my God, everybody just wants to pay for my food for me because I'm a cop.
But I'm on my way home from work. When I pull up to the window, they hand me my receipt, so I go to the second window to get my food. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And so the girl comes to the window and asks me what my order was. I repeat my order and my coffee order, and they ask me to pull up because my food's not ready. It's an English muffin meal with a hash brown and coffee. And I mean, I hadn't eaten since, probably about, I've been up for a very long time, but I haven't eaten in a while, so I was kind of hungry.
I think a lot of what's happening is that she's throwing a tantrum because she's hangry. And I get it when you're hangry, you need your food now, but you'll see as the video goes on, she thinks it's way deeper than that. I know for me, I get crabby sometimes. And then I realize, okay, I know that it's because I'm hangry, but Stacey here doesn't really seem to understand that, and you'll see what ends up happening. She makes it a much bigger deal than it really is.
And I'm still waiting. And I'm still waiting. And they asked me to pull up. So I pull up forward, and a girl comes out with my coffee, and just the coffee. And she hands it to me, and I have my window down. And that's all she hands me is the coffee. So I told her, I said, don't bother with the food because right now I'm too nervous to take it. It doesn't matter how many hours I've been up.
So she's crying because they brought her just her coffee and not her food. Stacey claims that she ordered ahead because she thinks that everybody's gonna be wanting to pay for her food and she wants to be just a regular person like everybody else and just pay for her food herself. She claims that that's why she ordered ahead. But I understand that if you order ahead and you're thinking, okay, my food will hopefully be ready or almost ready by the time I get there. That is annoying that you get there and you're like, okay, I ordered ahead, where's my food? That's kind of annoying, yes. But this is a fast food restaurant. It's busy. Depending on what time you're getting there, it could be a crazy rush with tons of other orders. Maybe a lot of people also ordered ahead and they ordered before you. It's just what happens. You're gonna have to wait sometimes. This is just the epitome of white people problems. This is the epitome of first world problems. Oh my God, my food's not ready right when I get there. And I have to wait for my food. Everybody has to wait sometimes for their food, Stacey. Calm down.
It doesn't matter what I've done for anyone.
Stacey said it doesn't matter what I've done? What does that even mean? Is she trying to say that because I'm a cop, I should get treated differently and I should be put up on a pedestal and I feel like I'm expected to be treated like I'm a special snowflake? Is that what she's trying to say? Is she mad that she's getting treated like everybody else and that her order's not ready, just like a lot of people's orders probably aren't ready? I'm not quite understanding her logic. It really does seem like she's having an absolute tantrum because they're not licking her boots and saying, oh my God, you're a cop. Oh, let me get you a free meal because we love you because you're a cop. She's just mad that she's being treated normally. Like, hey, here's your coffee. Sorry, we don't have the rest of your order yet, but it will be ready shortly. Who cares? If that was the worst part of her day, that her food isn't ready when she gets there, I can't imagine the rest of her life of privilege.
Right now, I'm too nervous to take a meal from McDonald's because I can't see it being made.
So now she's saying that she's too anxious to take the food when she cannot see the food being made. So maybe I'm wrong, but to me that sounds like she's insinuating that she's paranoid that they would be poisoning her food, spitting in her food, doing something to her food because of, I'm assuming, stories she's seen where cops pretend that their food was poisoned or that there were bites taken out of their burgers, things like that. The vast majority of those stories end up being debunked. And we find out that the cops were flat out lying, either doing it themselves or overreacting and pretending that their food was poisoned, even though it wasn't. We just saw a story a couple days ago where it was at Shake Shack, and these cops said that they were so convinced that their milkshakes or whatever it was that they had were poisoned with bleach. And come to find out that that was not the case. The machines were essentially too clean. It sounds kind of gross. Some of the cleaning products I think did kind of seep in a little bit, so that is a little gross, but it wasn't intentional. The employees didn't intentionally poison the cops. There are also stories where cops will take bites out of their burger and say that the employees took bites out of their burger when they did it themselves. And I'll link in the description some articles talking about these cases, because it's really strange that so many cops are doing this, where they're pretending that, oh my God, these employees are being so mean and they're messing with our food because they hate cops. And then it turns out that they're oftentimes making the whole thing up. Are there occasions where employees do mess with cops' food and drinks? I'm sure that there are. And do I think that's right? No. Would I call it out and say that that's wrong? Yes. But oftentimes, a lot of those stories end up being debunked. And it's clear when you see a pattern of it, why they're doing it. They're doing it to try to say, oh, boo-hoo, oh, the poor cops. Oh my gosh, these employees are being so mean and they're trying to poison the cops. When in reality, most of the time, that's not the case. Maybe there are some stories where it really did happen. People were really being mean to the cops, but oftentimes it's found to be completely made up. I'm not saying 100% of them have been debunked, but a lot of them have been. A lot of them have been cops completely making it up and lying. And there's a pattern of that happening. So that is wrong. The cops are making up these stories. Do I think that she's being overly paranoid? Yeah, because a lot of these cases have been debunked. A lot of these cases have been proven to be lies perpetuated by the cops. A lot of these poison stories are the cops pretending to be poisoned, pretending that people are being mean to them when they're going to get McDonald's or Burger King or Starbucks or whatever it is. So that's her fault for not following up with these cases and not seeing that these stories are made up. She should be following up with these stories. I feel like when I've heard about these stories and I hear, oh my gosh, cops were poisoned in Shake Shack, I feel like the correction is just as well publicized as the original story. So I feel like whenever I find out the truth, it's just as publicized as the original story. So I don't know how she wasn't seeing the corrections and the follow-ups when we find out that the cops are the ones who are oftentimes lying. I do think that's kind of her bad. Maybe somehow, coincidentally, she never sees the follow-up with any of these stories when cops pretend that they're being poisoned or that employees are being mean to them. Maybe it's a coincidence and she just never, ever, ever sees the follow-up that cops are the ones oftentimes making it up. But honestly, that's kind of her bad, because I don't know how you could miss it that many times. Because it's been numerous times that we've found out that the cops were lying. And that's her bad for not doing her due diligence to follow up. Also, just to point out the obvious, this isn't some random Karen going to the drive-thru saying, oh my God, my order's not ready. This is a cop. This is a cop, a police officer, someone who was supposedly hired to protect and serve her community. She's having an absolute fit about her order not being ready. She's armed to the teeth. Cops in America get away with murder every day on the streets. Cops are able to carry their weapons around all the time. Do you want someone like this on the streets who is having an absolute meltdown and says that she is absolutely paranoid and anxious about her McDonald's order? You trust her with weapons when she has to be on guard 24 hours a day? I personally do not. I don't trust someone like that on the streets when she is going to be in life and death situations where she could be taking away someone's life if she's not careful. I don't trust somebody like that. Stacey did say earlier that she's tired and she's been up a really long time. And I know we've seen stories that cops are pretty much being forced to work 7 days a week right now with the protests going on. Is this what's happening? They're sleep deprived and having meltdowns about their McDonald's orders? And then we're still arming them to the teeth, and they're trigger happy oftentimes, and violent oftentimes, shoving people to the ground, running protesters over when they're peaceful, smacking people with their batons. I know I'm not happy when I'm sleep deprived. These people are armed, and they're out there every day brutalizing peaceful protesters. I don't know what she's going to be doing when she's going to be monitoring peaceful protests when this is her reaction when her order isn't ready at McDonald's.
I don't know what's going on with people nowadays.
Stacey doesn't know what's going on with people nowadays. Back in the day, my order used to be ready and people used to pay for my food, and now I have to wait 5 minutes for my food. You don't know what's going on with people? What does that even mean? What does that mean?
But please, just give us a break. Please just give us a break.
Stacey's telling us to give her a break. When have cops not gotten a break? When? Cops are so rarely charged and prosecuted and found guilty when they commit murder, when it's on camera. Cops are worshipped in this culture. You have a freaking Blue Lives Matter flag that people fly, they plaster all over their Facebook. Give you a break? You've gotten a break throughout all of history. You've had the power for all of history. Cops have brutalized people for all of history. And you're mad that people are protesting against police brutality. You, Stacey, are melting down like a little snowflake because your McDonald's order isn't ready and you're wondering, oh, what is going on with the world? Because your food isn't ready. Again, first world problems and white people problems. That's what that is, on full display. You're filming it yourself. You posted it on social media, and now everybody's making fun of you for it because you're obviously extremely tone deaf.
I don't know how much more I can take. I've been in this for 15 years, and I've never, ever had such anxiety about waiting for McDonald's drive-thru food.
So Stacey has been a cop for 15 years. It seems to me that she's snapped. It sounds like she is deeply paranoid and anxious and unreasonably so. We are watching Stacey, who has been in the police force for 15 years, have a meltdown about her McDonald's order not being ready. And she stated that she has never been more anxious. Why are you anxious? She seems to think that there's some sort of conspiracy against cops now. No, sweetie. Cops are just being held accountable now. And cameras are on you, even more than they ever were before. And people are in the streets fighting for justice, fighting for police reform, fighting to, a lot of people say, defund the police. And that can mean many different things to many different people. People are fighting for change because this is not okay, Stacey. What cops have been getting away with for years, hundreds of years, is not okay. Black men and women being murdered, by police is not okay. People are in the streets raising their voices, trying to fight for that to stop. They are trying to fight for real change and reform. And you don't like that? What don't you like about that? Why are you so upset? Why do you think that there's some sort of conspiracy against you? It appears to me that you're mad that you're not on that pedestal anymore. People are not worshiping you the way they used to. People are not groveling at your feet anymore. People are not licking your boots like they used to. A lot of people still are though, Stacey. There was somebody who had to make sure that they commented on my Facebook status to tell me that they were unfriending me because they couldn't have somebody like this on their Facebook who was talking about police brutality and was disrespecting police because her dad is a cop, and it's so disrespectful to talk about how police commit murder every day in this country. If talking about police brutality triggers you and offends you, but the actual police brutality doesn't, there's something wrong with you, and your outrage meter is broken, and you need to work on that.
So just have a heart, and if you see an officer, just tell them thank you.
If you see a cop and if you have a heart, tell the cop thank you. This might be kind of rude and harsh, but thank the cop for what? I'm just being honest with you. Thank them for what? Oftentimes they're not protecting and serving. They are racially profiling people of color and oftentimes Black men and women in this country. Cops commit murder against Black men and women in this country. We've seen it while the protests have been going on. There have been more Black men who have been murdered by cops. We've seen lynchings, 3 at least that I've heard about, that have happened since these protests have started. And the police are pretending it was just suicides. Those were murders, and the cops are purposely not investigating those cases when they should be. What do you think we should be thanking cops for? What do cops do? Even as a white person, my experiences with cops are not even that great. I'm just being real with you. I remember in school we were taught that cops are so great and they're heroes and blah, 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 stuff like that. But as I got older, I realized a lot of cops are kind of douchey. I have that white privilege where I don't fear the cops in the way Black men and women do and have completely valid reasons to. So I have a lot of white privilege and I am not targeted like Black men and women are in this country by cops. Even I can't say that I've had wonderful experiences with cops. They don't always handle situations well. They can be rude, they can be aggressive, they don't always know how to handle the public, and they can be really rude and abrasive, and they act like they're on their high horse. I'm confused. What would I be thanking a cop for? Because cops don't really do much for any of us, from what I've seen. The police culture is completely toxic and corrupt, and we've lost sight of what cops should be doing. They should be protecting and serving. They no longer do that, and that's a problem, and we need to fix that.
Because I don't hear thank you enough anymore.
She doesn't hear thank you enough anymore. So this is all about Stacey. This whole meltdown was all about Stacey. She's mad that she perceives somehow that people are not being as nice to her and she's not being worshipped as much as she used to be. And she doesn't like that. She doesn't like that at all. Stacey is a triggered little snowflake, and she is mad that people are holding her and police officers all over the country accountable. That's what we are doing. Stacey, you're a person. You're just a person who happens to be a cop. I personally do not think you should be put on a pedestal. I do not think you should be worshipped just because you're a cop. I don't believe in that. And you're mad that more people are starting to feel that way. You're mad that people are holding cops accountable. You're mad that we are saying that you should not get away with the things you used to get away with. We're saying that that needs to change. We're saying police brutality needs to stop. We're saying that cops disproportionately commit violence and murder against Black men and women in this country. We're saying that Black men and women are disproportionately racially profiled in this country. This is all documented. This has been studied. This has been proven. Black men and women are treated unequally and unfairly by cops and throughout the criminal justice system as a whole. It is proven. It is a verifiable fact. And you're triggered that you're being held accountable and that there are cameras on you and that people are outraged and people want this to stop. Your meltdown over your McDonald's order concerns me. Stacey should no longer be in the police force. I honestly believe that this video should be brought to her supervisor's attention. This is concerning. She is armed. She is an armed officer on the streets right now. She is monitoring peaceful protests every day. I don't know where, but she is on the streets, and she should not be. She is a danger to herself. She is a danger to others, and this is extremely concerning behavior. This is a very disturbing video because this is a person who is in power. This is a person who is armed on the streets, supposedly protecting and serving, and is supposedly enforcing the law. How can she be trusted to do that when she has an absolute fit and she states that she is sleep deprived and she hadn't eaten in a while? That means that she's not getting enough sleep, she's not eating enough. And even for a person who is not in the police force, just an everyday person going to work, living life, not eating enough and not sleeping enough is extremely dangerous. That's dangerous to the human body. And those are things that you really need to stay on top of. The fact that she is not taking care of herself and she is having emotional meltdowns because she's not taking care of herself is extremely concerning. That should be brought to her supervisor's attention. So I hope that this is shared with her police department and that she is maybe put on leave. I don't know what she does on the job, but I can't imagine that she's going to be able to do her job well. If you're not able to do your job well as a cop, that could be life and death for somebody who is innocent. That is something to take incredibly seriously. I do believe that she is a danger to her community. She's a danger to herself at this point. If she keeps going down that road of not sleeping, not eating, that is dangerous to the human body and the human brain. So I am concerned for her, but I'm also concerned for the community that she serves. If she makes a dangerous decision while on the job because of the anxiety, the paranoia, not eating, not sleeping. It seems like it's taken a toll on her and she's snapped. And I don't believe that she should be on the job right now, in my opinion. I really hope that if you are watching this and you do find out what police department Stacey works for, please share this video with the police department because I am extremely concerned for her. I'm extremely concerned for her community because somebody who is this anxious and paranoid and who is not taking care of her physical health as well, I don't think that she should be serving the community right now as a police officer. So if she needs to take a permanent or temporary break, I think that needs to happen immediately. I will include the original video that I reacted to in the description below so that you can watch it in full for yourself. I will also include articles that I found while researching this pattern of cops pretending that they were poisoned or that employees were messing with their food and stuff like that, because Vice did a really great article about it. So I'll include that article, and if I find anything else, I'll include that in the description below so you guys can read those articles for yourselves as well. If you enjoyed this, please give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Just remember to make sure that you're subscribed and that you have clicked the bell so that you are notified when I drop another one for you. I hope you're all staying safe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.